Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat time. I hope you're having a great weekend. This is kind of a weird week. It's weird because, well, there's a lot of things going on. For one, my new class, 30 Days to Better Watercolor, is now live. I'm actually filming this on Thursday, but by the time Sat Chat comes out, it will be live. It will be ready for purchase, and I will have a 50% off launch coupon code in the video description for you, so you can save 50% off of the full price of the course. It's got 30 classes, 30 individual projects to paint, and if you look kind of behind me there, you can see some of them on that board there in my studio, so a little bit of a sneak peek there. But yeah, it's 30 painting tutorials that will take between they're mostly around 30 minutes, but anywhere between 10 and 40 minutes. And so that way you can kind of pick and choose for how much time you have during the day, but you could paint every single day for 30 days and watch yourself level up. And it is just watercolor. I don't pull any colored pencils, I don't pull any gel pens, I don't pull any paint pens, I don't pull any pastels. It's just watercolor. It's just 9 colors. We're actually going to use the Pretty Excellent 36 set if you have it, but we're only going to use 9 colors from it, which I will list out substitutions. So if you already have watercolors, I'm sure you have all you need. But this, a box of watercolor greeting cards. I get the 100 boxes of 100 watercolor greeting cards because I use them in my classes. So, and a set of brushes. These brushes cost $24. I have put them through their paces, made sure they were going to work for this class. So, I mean, you could probably, depending on where you shop, you could get my class for 50% off. You could get the watercolors, the box of cards, and the paintbrushes and be around $100. So, I mean, to be able to walk away with 30 finished paintings, I think that's pretty good. And then you've got, like, if you bought the box of 100 cards, you'd have 70 more chances to paint something awesome. But you can get them in 10 packs, or I think 50 packs or 100 packs for the watercolor greeting cards. Anyway, you could also use a sketchbook. But I'm super excited about that, and the regular price will be $99, but it'll be $49.50 with a launch coupon code, which I'll put in the video description. I haven't decided what it's going to be yet at this time of taping. I'm getting ready to tape the promo for that. But I wanted to make sure I had my Sat Chat done because we're going to be hit with a hurricane sometime between Friday and Saturday. And so I wanted to make sure I had this up and uploaded because we've already lost power once. We lost power, it was about, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, it was 4:45 in the morning. I woke up to the dog just pacing around the bed, and then it was like eerily dark and I could hear the neighbor's generator. And so I was like, oh no, we've lost power. And we have a sump pump in the basement, and it's rained so much this summer that it's pretty quiet. I don't really hear it going, but it keeps the water out of the basement. And my studio's in the basement. I'm in the basement right now. And the room of hoard is in the basement. My husband's workshop is in the basement. So, I mean, and our home gym is in the basement. So our basement, we have a 1970s ranch. The basement gets a lot of use. So whenever we lose power, we have to be mindful of the basement flooding. So we do have a generator, but it's not an automatic one. It's one you have to hook up. And so once the power goes out, it's like you can't fall back asleep again because it's like, we're going to have to turn on the generator, we're going to have to go hook it up. And it's kind of a 2-person job. So I was, just kind of being aware. And then the dog was pacing, and my husband got up to go check on the sump pump and make sure it wasn't flooding. And so I'm kind of listening to see if he needs some help. And then the dog very stealthily hopped into the bed. I'm like, oh, last thing I need is a dog in the bed. And she's like panting. She's stressed out because she's hearing the neighbor's generator. And then I just got a message from, the power came back on a little after 6:30 or so, and we didn't have any flooding. We didn't have to hook up the generator. But luckily we have one if we need it. Like if we lose the power for more than a couple hours, then we'll hook it up. But my husband just sent me a text from work, and he had another tick. He had a tick on his wrist. So I'm thinking, oh no, did that tick come from the dog because it hopped in our bed, or did he pick that up somewhere else? I mean, I don't know. I rarely ever, I haven't found a tick on the dog for months. So I don't know, but that's worrying because he just had anaplasmosis back in August and was so sick for like a couple weeks. It was he missed, well, he was out on vacation for a week from work, but he was sick the entire time, and then they finally got him on antibiotics, and he had short days like the next week going back to work because it was so he was just so worn out. So I hope he doesn't pick up anything else from that tick, but I think a tick has to be attached to you for at least 12 hours to be able to transmit anything. And if he did pick it up, if the dog did give it to him, then he would have only had it for a couple hours. And if he picked it up at work, then because there's a lot of fields around the radio station where he works, you know, who knows? But hopefully he's got it off in time and nothing bad will happen there, because that's scary. Oh my gosh, that's so scary. I've known so many people that have picked up Lyme disease, and if they don't catch it right away, it gives you so many long-term effects that I bet a lot of people that suffer from fibromyalgia and things like that, where they don't have a concrete like pinpoint, this is what you have, it's like like chronic illnesses and stuff. I bet there's a huge proportion of those people that actually had Lyme disease and didn't know and thought they, you know, maybe were sick and they got over it, but there's long-term effects. Anyway, that's my theory. I'm not a doctor, but you know, be safe, protect yourself, protect the ones you love. And that's my public service announcement. Watch out for ticks. Well, probably by the time this comes out, the hurricane will be passing through. It's been I've caught a couple just weather reports. I haven't, because I don't know. I think that meteorologists are kind of cautious about overselling a hurricane up here. We usually don't get hit too badly with them, but where we've had so much rain over this summer, the power company, Central Maine Power, which isn't the power company we have we used to be called Bangor Hydroelectric, but now it's Versant or something. It's a different, there's two power companies in the state of Maine. So that is the power, CMP is a power company that handles the populated part of the state. We're up north. They call us up north. We're actually kind of like, if you look at the state of Maine, we're kind of like right in the middle, but a lot of people consider Bangor, Maine area, northern Maine. Anyway, Central Maine Power that handles the more populous part of the state has already been warning that there's going to be a lot of outages, or there could be a lot of outages, because with all the rain that we've had, the soil is very weak. It's very like waterlogged, and there could be a lot of roots that have rotted because of all the rain, and they're expecting a lot of trees to come down. And they're not the best about maintaining the like trimming the trees and stuff like that. So when we do get a big windstorm, like just takes down so many power lines. And I'm not criticizing anybody that works for the power company. I'm not criticizing any of the line crew. They are awesome. They're rock stars. They do a great job. What I'm criticizing would be the maintenance that is decided on by the shareholder, the board, and the people who decide what profit gets sent over outside of the country to the shareholders and what actually goes back into investing and maintaining the lines in the state. So, by the way, there's a referendum this fall on whether we should get rid of the power companies in Maine and be a public-owned utility. So that will be interesting. I've tried to find out as much information as I can about that. More Perfect Union did a video on that. I just would like to get more information than just the smear campaigns that are from the power company, but I don't know. I just want the lights to work, and I don't want to be, have crazy high electric bills. And they've been going up and up and up for the last few years. But anyway, who knows? Who knows? I can't really speak on that topic because I don't know that much about either side. So I need to get myself informed before November, and I go and cast my ballot, I guess. So what else? The Michaels class that I was talking about, the free Michaels class I was talking about for the last couple of weeks. Oh, I can show you my sketchbook right here. I can show you the artwork. We might have to pare it down to one garlic head, but that is the artwork there. We're using Derwent drawing pencils. If you don't have Derwent drawing pencils, you can look at your color pencils you have and just pull out like the browns and earth tones and muted shades and grays and things like that, and you can use those. You can just kind of substitute for whatever is close to what I'm using, but the Derwent drawing set of 24 is what I'll be using. It's a wonderful set of pencils, very light, fast colors. So we're going to be doing that. It's October 13th. It's on a Friday the 13th, which is a little spooky, but yeah, you can sign up for that for free if you want. I would love it if you would leave a review for my class over on the Michaels website. It just helps people that are newcomers, that have never taken a class from me before. They can see the reviews and decide whether my style, personality, whatever would fit for them. So if you have a few minutes, you wouldn't mind leaving a review, that would be great. There is still an issue with people not being able to sign up if they live outside of the United States and Canada. I don't know what it is. I think it's something with the new revamped Michaels site. Michaels is aware of this. I've let them know. I've given them lots of data. A lot of you guys told me where you were trying to sign up from, so I gave them a whole list of countries of where people couldn't sign up for these new ones, and they were able to in the past. So they know about it. I don't know how high on their priority list that is to fix, because they've got, you know, I'm sure they have a lot of different issues with any website revamp, and they only have stores in the United States and Canada, I think, so they may only be really concerned with that. I don't know. I don't know if it costs them more money to let people from other countries come in or what. I have no idea how that works. I just show up and teach a class. That's all. Yep. I'm just the hired help, and that's fine. I don't want to be doing tech stuff. But I'm really excited about my new watercolor class. Link is in the video description. Let me know what you think about this idea. So I had this idea. So the watercolor class is only watercolor. It's only 9 colors and a simple set of brushes. We are like paring down. If you have my set of brushes from Craft Ammo, it's sold out now, but if you have that, that's totally fine. You can totally use that. I would maybe grab a smaller round brush to add to that set, but that would be about it, because my set focused on the larger brushes that were a little more expensive to find open stock and harder to find open stock, so I wanted to make sure they had those hard to find brushes, because a lot of people have the smaller rounds already. So yeah, absolutely use that if you have them. Use whatever watercolors you have if you have them. I just wanted to make sure that if you didn't have anything and you were starting from scratch, you would be able to get an inexpensive kit together that's going to serve you really well. And then as you use up a color, you could buy a tube of professional paint and refill your palette. And I think that's a really sustainable way to start, because if you don't know what you need, and this is so frustrating, because I've had so many students tell me that they signed up for an adult ed class for watercolor, they paid $100 for the class, and then they paid another $100 for supplies, and they ended up buying these expensive little tubes of paint. They ended up using like a dollop of a color, and that was it, and they've never used it again, and they're so frustrated because that tube of paint was $15. Especially if you're going to like your local brick and mortar store and you're buying a tube of paint, it can add up really quick. So the thing I love about going with a set, this is still my budget pick. I'm working on a review for their new 52 set, but I'm still saying this is my pick out of their line of beginner paints. 36 colors. There's great colors in here, and there's 9 in here that we're going to use for the class, but as you're learning and you're playing with colors, you're going to see you like some colors better than others, and you're going to run out of certain colors first. And if you get to kind of test run these, you're not going to buy a big tube of a color you're never going to use, because you're not going to go and buy a tube until you've used one up. And I don't think this paint will hinder you in your learning at all. The only thing I noticed with this, but I noticed this with a lot of paints, so it's not just this one, if you like are mixing really dark darks, like say you're mixing your burnt sienna and ultramarine blue to make a gray or a black, and you put that on thickly, you will see a little bit of shine. I've seen that in a lot of different paint brands, but you're less likely to run into that particular issue when you're using a higher end paint, because it's more pigment and less binder. So that's one thing. That's probably the only negative I could say about this. And light fastness on these colors, I don't know. There are some light fast ratings. I don't know if I necessarily believe the light fast ratings from anything other than a legacy, more expensive brand of paint. Maybe that's a bias, and I shouldn't feel that way, but that's one of the reasons why professional paints are more expensive. You're paying for that research and development, and the fact that you'll be able to buy that tube again when you run out. So yeah, but as far as being able to start and not sacrifice the handling of the paint, and be able to afford to do it, not be too precious about it because it's inexpensive, I mean, you really can't go wrong. I know other teachers disagree with me, but it hasn't failed me yet. And I did all of those lessons. We do all the lessons with those paints, so my money's where my mouth is. And yeah, and of course, I'm not saying it to anybody, don't use your favorite brand of paints. If you have paints you love, use those. Don't go buy those if you already have, you know, Winsor Newton, Daniel Smith, M. Graham, Da Vinci, Schminke, whatever brand you love. If you already have it, just use that. That's fine. You don't need to buy anything. It's fun to buy stuff, but you don't need to buy anything for that class. Oh, speaking of stuff being fun to buy, I did it, my most popular video last week. No surprise, I bet you can guess what it is without even looking on my channel. It's the critique I did of Well, the title of it is Temu the Real Problem, and it was basically like, is it really any worse than buying from other places? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. But a lot of people were leaving comments about forced labor and child labor in products that are sold on Temu. So of course, I had to research it because, well, if I need to know about this, if I'm buying a product that is contributing to the suffering of others, I really want to know so I can change my ways. And I found a wonderful resource on the United States Department of Labor website, and if you are curious too about where your products come from and who may be making them, then they have I think it's like a 160-page report on child labor and forced labor in imports, like stuff we buy all over the world, and you can tell what products from what region could be problematic. And craft supplies from China, the products that you would want to be concerned with would be yarn, thread, fabric, textiles, artificial flowers, Christmas decorations. Yeah, and that was it. So probably don't want to avoid those products from China if you are concerned about forced labor and child labor, like putting those together. The big offenders were like in technology, lithium batteries, solar cells, for solar power, that sort of thing, and like basically technology gadget things, because those contain those products that tend to be mined or developed in factories using such labor. So, hey, the more you know. I have to tell you, it's not going to make you feel great to read that report. I definitely feel bad about my morning cup of coffee, and I buy Rainforest Alliance coffee, but not all the time, because sometimes I'm just at my regular, because usually I get my coffee at Sam's Club, but I'm not always there. Sometimes I'm picking it up at my local supermarket, and I'm just getting like, New England brand coffee, which I have no idea if they're fair trade or Rainforest Alliance, and I have no idea if those certifications even really mean anything. So I have more research to do. I've definitely scaled way back on coffee, but that has more to do with just my tolerance of it in middle age being lower than it used to be when I was, in my 20s and even 30s and stuff. So I have pared down, luckily. But yeah, you're definitely gonna want to think twice about some of the things in your pantry. So, if you don't want to know, I would suggest avoiding that report. But if you do want to know, it's very user-friendly. I have to say, they definitely put all that information in a very digestible report. They kind of dumbed it down for, the likes of me, the likes of, people that don't work in international logistics to be able to understand this stuff, or economics to be able to understand it. But there's infographics, there's very helpful lists. And you can even print out the list part, I think, and reference that, have that by your computer or with you when you shop if you want to. I think there's even an app I think the app is more for like business owners that want to avoid certain products in their supply chain. So I'm like, well done, Department of Labor. I have to say, well done. That is a really helpful resource, and I love that the information's out there, because I want to be conscious. And obviously, don't go throwing your stuff away. Don't throw your stuff away, guys. You have it. You bought and paid for it. The damage is done. Use it, right? But it would definitely, I think, help us consume more mindfully, and that's the goal, really, right? We don't want to buy stuff we're not going to use or that's not going to meet our needs. That's why I'm very picky about what I recommend for paint for people, because I don't want, and why I'm kind of harsh when I review some stuff, because I don't want people to buy stuff that's not gonna meet their needs. It's just gonna be a waste of space, a waste of money, a waste of resources, and yeah, even though I certainly have plenty, and I'm not pointing a finger at anybody or judging anybody, because look around. I mean, there's a lot going on here, and yeah. We just do our best, right? Something else I found out about, well, and I probably should have talked about this when I talked about my Michaels class, but Michaels is launching a new platform. I guess it's up, actually it's up already. I haven't checked it out, but, well, no, I did click over it because I was curious about the terms of service. So I did click. I'm telling you, I am a ton of fun at parties, guys. Not only do I read the Department of Labor's website, but I also read the terms and conditions of everything I join. Or I'm even thinking about joining. I'm such a nerd. Oh my word. Is anybody still watching? Probably not. But they have started up a kind of like Etsy competitor over at Michaels, and it's for people that want to sell their handmade goods. I think they because there is a big list of things you cannot sell on their website. So I'm hoping that they're trying to not like weed out sellers, because you have to be approved to sell there. So I'm hoping they're going to weed out like mass market sellers, because that's one problem that Etsy had, was that a lot of like drop shippers and well, if you don't know what a drop shipper is, they're like somebody that wants to start a business, but they don't actually make the products. They don't want to make the products. They want to find a product they think is good, and then kind of set up a website. And then when people order it, it's shipped directly from China or shipped directly from Amazon or whatever. But they don't actually have to handle any goods. And they just kind of make a markup, and then they sell it, and then they order it for you from those other sites and have it shipped to you. So Etsy's had a problem with that, and also with people that are buying in bulk directly from factories in China and then selling them as if they're handmade. And then they are undercutting all the handmade buyers, because if you are making, say, let's say you're making friendship bracelets and you're making them out of thread, like floss, and they're taking you a couple hours to make or whatever. Maybe you're watching TV and you're making them and you're trying to make a little side money, so you're probably barely making minimum wage, if that. But then if somebody decides, oh, I like that, those are selling really well, I'm going to find a factory in China that makes friendship bracelets. You see them on like Oriental Trading and things like that in the catalogs. So they buy those in bulk and then they start selling them. And people assume they're handmade because they're from Etsy, so they think they're supporting a handmade business, because you're going to pay more if you think you're supporting a crafter, a handmade business, trying to, put their kids through dance lessons. Yeah, you'll pay a little bit more for that. But then it like totally undercuts all of these handmade sellers. It makes people think that the price of a handmade bracelet that takes 2 hours to make is, $4 instead of the, $20 or even $15, whatever, so a fair price. It trains people to think that that's what it should cost and not what the labor actually costs. But anyway, or people will be like, oh, why would I make that? I'll just buy that for cheap. Because it's fun to make it. But anyway, that happened on Etsy, and that was really tough for all these handmade sellers. Plus, Etsy has a lot of fees, and their fees have been going up. I've never sold on Etsy, so please take this all with a grain of salt. If anybody is an Etsy seller and they want to correct me on anything I've said, please do, because like I said, I've never sold on Etsy. You have to pay to list products. That's probably the big reason why I haven't, because you have to have skin in the game before you even start. You have to pay to list your products, and I was like, I'm not paying. But I have sold on different handmade sales websites before, and it's been fine. So Michael's is starting one, and there's a free plan, and I think it allows you to put so many items up, I think, and then there's a paid plan that allows you to have, more items. And you can apply if you're curious and if you want to start selling your stuff there. I don't think they have the traffic yet because they're new. That's probably why they have a free plan for now, so they can attract more people to the platform, so that they'll start to get more traffic to the platform, because that's really the goal. That's really the benefit of selling on a site like Etsy. Like if you're you're watching this, you don't have a social media following, but you're a talented crafter, talented artist, and you want to sell your work, but you don't have that audience already to like email to or to show on your blog and have an audience there that can see it, then you could put your stuff on Etsy, and they have that traffic, and you can advertise right there on Etsy, and you can even pay for Etsy to advertise your product, so it will be at the top of search engines, and you can find your people a lot easier that way. So I think that's why you pay the fees for Etsy. That's why it's more expensive, because they bring that traffic. I found out actually a fun fact about Temu, just to cycle back for a minute. They make 80% of their money from advertising, not from selling things. Well, because Temu's just an app. It's not really selling you anything. It's a warehouse, and it is connecting manufacturers with buyers, basically. So they make their money by what the manufacturers pay to advertise their products. I thought that was very interesting. That's why they make 80% of their money, and I bet the other 20% is in commissions and in warehousing fees. I'm betting you that's how they make the rest of their money. Because I think it's really interesting. I think a lot of people think that Temu is like some big warehouse that owns all this stuff, is selling it to you. No, they're just a middleman. They're just the platform, the technological platform that's connecting the manufacturers with the buyers, just like Etsy is a platform that connects the crafters with the buyers, and the Michael's Marketplace will be a platform that connects the crafters with the buyers. And these platforms bring traffic in, they advertise to bring traffic in, and then they are paid by the sellers, by commissions, and by advertising fees and whatnot. So it's a tech company. It's interesting, but I thought that was kind of interesting to put those to bring those stories to you because I don't know, I'm curious about that stuff. But then again, I read the Department of Labor website, so I might not have my finger on the pulse on what is interesting to other people. Who knows? But hey, as we're drinking our coffee, questioning, having an existential crisis, wondering about life, wondering about a hurricane, that's topical, right? It's topical and tropical, just like the storm. I hope it's not bad. I hope everybody is safe. I don't even know how much damage it's going to do. Like I said, I'm filming this on Thursday, so I don't know exactly where it is, if it's out to sea, if it's making landfall or what. But I hope everybody is safe and everyone is looking out for their neighbors, you know, checking on their neighbors. If you are in a situation in an area where there's power outages and you have a generator and your neighbor doesn't, I encourage you to reach out, meet your neighbors if you haven't, and make sure they're okay. Especially older people. A lot of older people don't, like they kind of withdraw and they may not be active in the community. If you know you have an older neighbor and you see they don't have a generator, maybe nobody's gone over to check on them, you know, their kids might live far away, they might not have kids. See how they're doing. See how they're doing if you have the means to do so. And because all we get, you know, times like this, you got to take care of each other and make sure that make sure everybody's well. And that's the stuff of life, friends. That's the stuff of life. The people in our neighborhood, the people. Where's my Maine accent coming from? I've like tried so hard to get rid of it, and now I'm talking like, you know. I don't know. Like I didn't pay a lot of money for voice and diction classes in college. Actually, I didn't. My parents did. But, yeah. Oh, do I have anything else on my list to chit-chat about today? That's about it, really. Expecting to lose power. Finishing up. I'm actually finishing up the filming on my class today. So after I'm done filming Sat Chat, I'm going to film the promo video for the class. See, you guys are my priority. I had to make sure that I took care of you guys before I lost the power. So I got to film the promo for that and just a little welcome video. Everything else is filmed and edited, done and dusted. I am excited for this one. I think it's going to be really exciting because beginners can jump in and go right to town making some really fun projects without the fuss and muss of additional supplies. It's simple, but you're building skills. So simple doesn't always mean easy. Simple in the fact that you can jump in. We're really focusing on color theory and mixing. So if that's a weak spot, I think you're really going to love this class. But then folks that are more experienced can have that jump start, that like, okay, I don't know what I'm gonna do today, but hey, I'm just gonna I'm gonna have these supplies just sitting out in a basket on my desk. I'm gonna spend the first, you know, half an hour of the day, I'm gonna jump in and make something, and I don't have to think about it. I'm just gonna jump in and make it, and then I can go on and do whatever else I want to do to challenge myself. So it's either a warm up, or it's a intro, or it's a jump start. I think it's going to be great for anybody that wants to paint more watercolors. So 30 days to better watercolor. It's live now. Link in the description with a 50% off coupon code. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Take care of each other. Until next time. Happy crafting. Bye.